Let's talk about public speaking, how to confidently deliver your speech and how to prepare for it. Hello, I'm Dr. Pavel Vlašánek, former university lecturer, speaker at scientific conferences, and a teacher of effective communication techniques for public speaking. If you are about to deliver your speech, there are some pieces of information, tips and tricks what might be helpful to know. The number one is about mental preparation. You can start with simple step. Visualize success. It might sound silly, but it has been shown that if you are worried, if you are constantly nervous and you think that you will fail, you actually increase your chance of failure. So trust in yourself, you will be great. Anytime you start to doubt yourself, stop for a moment and don't let these ideas overflow you. Just the thought of you succeeding can help you a lot. If you really struggle to do that, you can try positive affirmation. You should remind yourself what are your strengths, things what you really know and can do very well. You can try to repeat, I'm very knowledgeable about this area. I know way more things than my audience, which could lead to overall calmness. Speaking about audience, if possible, it's good to know in advance who your audience will be. And I don't mean necessarily number of people, more like their composition. It might be slightly different if you're gonna talk about engineering topics to a room full of engineers or to HR representative. It might also differ if you are about to deliver a speech to your students about something they already should be knowledgeable, at least when it comes to basics. For instance, when I was lecturing computer graphics, it was very different to present the same topic to the students of medicine than to the students of computer science. Small details, but it matters. If possible, consider your audience and think twice what they probably know about the topic and what they probably don't know. And now it's finally good time to start to think about what are you going to talk about in more details. You should clarify title, the main topic, and you should start to slowly prepare the content. The preparation is nothing serious in that phase. You can think about it in shower or when you are walking outside. Have just a brief idea of what you want to tell, repeat it in your head, and don't think about anything else such as time constraint. It is absolutely alright to have thoughts for 1 hour speech, even if you know you're gonna talk only for 20 minutes. We're gonna fix this later and we're gonna cut the content to fit the time. When you reach this place, it might be a good time to think about slides. The slides are obviously not necessary, depends on your talk. If you are going to have them, if you are going to use them, there are a few things you can do to make it easier for you. It's good to start with 3 slides. First of them, title, possibly your name. The third of them should be the last slide of your presentation. Frequently just blank page with a writing, thanks for your attention. And the middle one will be the one where you start to create your content. When you are in this phase, don't think much about the style, about the fonts, about the templates. It's not necessary. Focus on content only. What I'm trying to say is be fine with just a white background and black text. You're gonna fix it later. It's too soon. What you can do from the design perspective is to keep everything uniform. Don't change fonts too much. Don't overdo the colors. It's probably better if you forget about animations. Forget about slide transitions. They are not necessarily wrong, but if you are a beginner, it's very easy to misuse them. When you have enough slides, and again, have more slides than less in this phase. Let's say that your talk is about 20 minutes. You should consider 1 slide per 30 seconds is usually not a bad ratio, but it really depends. You can have 1 slide for 1 or 2 minutes, but you shouldn't go through your slides very fast. You should always think from the audience perspective. Imagine yourself sitting there and watching the presenter click, 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 click and move very fast. You know, it's not entertaining, it's just giving you a message that the slides were probably not necessary. It's a question if they should be included in the presentation if you didn't have the time to read them properly. Let's say that in this phase, for your 20 minutes talk, you have 40 slides. It might be too much, but we can always cut later. Have more, not less. Don't forget that slides are something which shouldn't be absolutely necessary. If there would be some troubles on a place, and it would happen that you cannot use the slides, you should be able to deliver your speech even without them. Obviously with hidden quality and maybe understanding, but it should be possible. So to read your slides, not as a absolutely necessary thing what your audience and you need, but more like a safety net. Alternative thinking about the slides is as about notes. You don't want your audience to write notes when you are talking, you want them to be focused on you, There is no need to write something, they will have it after. By the way, you can send them the presentation even if they didn't see it before. In case of troubles, they will still have the slides available even if they should watch them for the first time by themselves. Your speech is the main thing and the idea what you are about to deliver. So slides are only a safety net. Don't rely on them as a main thing of your speech. When slides are sort of ready, you can start to practice. Here it really depends how experienced you are. If you are a beginner, it's not a bad idea to practice in front of mirror. If you never spoke in front of audience, you probably don't know what are your face expressions. What are your gestures, what you do with hands, with body, with shoulders. Mirror can help you to give you sort of feedback. It's very important to practice your speech from start to end. You should do it many times. Again, in shower, you can try to practice your speech from start to end, but with respect to slides. You should memorize your slides, at least a little. You should have them in front of you mentally, and you should be able to talk following them. This can help you a lot because when you start to combine the slides and the information you prepared in previous step together, the final version starts to crystallize. It will be more obvious to you what you should cut out and if you should add something more. If you feel confident enough, you practice in front of mirror. The content of your slides is more or less alright and you really feel good already about what you want to talk about, you can try to record yourself. This is really not necessary, but it might be helpful. If you are really serious about your speech, you can take the recording and send it to your friends. Ask for feedback. Last thing, when you feel good already about your speech, is to finalize your slides. Now is the time when you can start to think about templates, about colors, about the visuals, about pictures if necessary. Spend as much time as necessary and make the presentation beautiful. Again, if you are a beginner, forget about animations, forget about slide transitions, make it simple. And now your big day comes. It's possible that you will be very nervous since morning. Don't forget to remind yourself, drink properly, eat properly. It's really very easy to forget. Depends on the time of your talk, but if it's quite soon in the day, have very light breakfast. If you have a chance, try your hardware in advance. Take your laptop with slides or the slides only and go to room to check if everything works. You really want to prevent a situation where you will be in the room for the first time 1 minute before your speech. It's not always possible, but do maximum to make it happen. It might come to your mind to have a shot of alcohol for courage. I strongly recommend not to do that. The biggest danger is to foresee how the alcohol will influence you. If you didn't eat properly, if you are nervous, it might hit you way stronger than it usually does. And you really don't want to be drunk in front of audience. On the other hand, what can be helpful are talismans. Some people like to use them, it can be whatever. Lucky charm, anything what you believe will bring you luck, or even specific piece of clothes. Speaking about clothes, don't forget to dress comfortably. For instance, if you are not used to suits, don't wear suit unless absolutely necessary. Wear the things you are very familiar with and you feel good wearing them. It's just additional stress to have it on yourself for the first time in front of audience. It might be quite surprising to have the trousers which have special cut, jacket which might behave in slightly different way than you are used to. If it's not mandatory or necessary, don't push yourself. Right before to speech, it's good to have some stretching. The first part of the stretching is about your face muscles. Go to a bathroom, stand in front of the mirror, splash water to your face and do something like this. You should feel how your face became warmer and more relaxed. If you have a chance, do some light exercise. Nothing serious, you don't want to get sweaty, but it's helpful to get your blood flowing. For instance, Tony Robbins liked to jump on small trampoline before he enters the stage. What you can do is to lean towards the wall and do incline push-ups. This could help you to calm down. It should relieve some of the stress you might feel. If you are comfortable, you can also try to speak loud, say something. A common mistake what many people do is to sit in the audience till the last minute and absolutely cold jump on the stage and start their speech. If possible, you want to avoid this. You don't want to open your mouth for the first time after half an hour of silence before the audience. Obviously, not always possible, but if possible, don't forget about it. And even if you are sitting in the audience and waiting for your turn, you can always warm up your tongue. Important thing for your day is to arrive early. And I cannot stress this enough. Don't rely on the things such as traffic will be fast enough. The bus or public transportation will not be late. Don't even hesitate, be there half an hour sooner. You can always use the time to get familiar with the place, with the room, to relax, to breathe, to stretch, in general to cool down. Last part we're gonna talk about is about the talk. So you are standing there and you are talking. It's recommended to memorize start of your speech. Don't hesitate to memorize first 3 or 4 sentences. Memorize also end of your speech. Everything in between can be improvised. You already practiced your speech a lot, so don't worry, you are talking. What you can do is, from time to time, focus on your shoulders. Monitor if you don't stand like that. Push them back and down. This move will open your chest, your voice will be more clear, and your confidence will be higher. We're gonna talk about body language in details in one of the further videos. What you should also watch are your hands. Try to avoid to have hands next to your body in a very firm position. Try to avoid to have them in your pockets. Again, not necessarily a mistake, but don't do it as a beginner. You will see that the movement of the hands can help you with the stress. When you are moving, you have some physical activity, it really might relax you down. And obviously it's more entertaining for the audience to see that something's happening. Don't forget about your feet. You should always face your audience as often as possible, ideally always. If your feet are facing the audience, your shoulders are facing the audience, you know you are good. Common mistake what people do is to turn back and talk back to the audience. This might happen when you have slides behind you. You should memorize your slides, but from time to time you might need to take a look. In this case, stop to talk for a second and continue. It's usually better. Don't read your slides. You shouldn't even prepare your slides to be read. You want to use them as notes for later. It should be very brief. You don't want to use paragraphs of text unless absolutely necessary. There might be situations when it's inevitable, such as when you quote a law. You should avoid crossed arms. Again, not necessarily a mistake. I'm doing it a lot, but I'm doing it because I want to do it. You should avoid this unless you are not aware of that. During your speech, you should have your body under control. Everything which happened unconsciously is probably wrong. When you become more and more experienced, these unconscious things and the patterns will be good. It will be part of your style. The point is, some people say, and I'm not fan of that the crossed arms simply means that you are separating yourself from the audience. You are simply holding back, you are trying to close yourself or make yourself smaller. On the other hand, it might be power pose when you are very opened and again separate yourself from the audience, like you are above them. I don't believe it, I just think it's fair to mention it because it's quite common conception. Obviously we can talk about this topic way more and I will prepare more videos in the future. For now let's talk about the last thing, and this is voice. You should monitor your pitch and your pace. It means that you shouldn't talk in a monotonic, uniform way. Try to change the modulation. Don't hesitate to use pauses. That's another beginner mistake. There is no need to speak fast. Quite frequently, you are probably speaking way faster than you think and way more quiet than you think. As a rule of thumb, try to speak louder than usually and try to speak slower. It's good to ask for a feedback beforehand just to balance your voice. If I'm going to speak very fast, what happened to me yesterday, it might be not as engaging. It can be actually even tiring for audience, if they are not natives, for instance. But if you use the pause, and now imagine what happened to me. See? It's alright. Build a tension. Keep your audience in suspense. It will make you calmer. It will allow you to breathe in the pauses. And it really is better for everybody in the room. And that's all for today. I hope that the class about public speaking was helpful and see you next time.